is a land full of opportunities. It has a place for everyone, from the business-friendly laws to qualified human capital and favorable climate. This makes the country the most appropriate for investment, as everything that is needed is there. At the turn of the millennium, the First Republic embarked on a land redistribution exercise meant to correct past colonial imbalances. The process ensured 3 million hectares were repossessed from whites, who were the minority, benefiting over 50,000 black Zimbabweans. This was meant to afford the black majority access to economic activities, as they were previously sidelined by the settler regime. However, the First Republic is credited for facilitating political independence, while the advent of President Emerson Mnangagwa's Second Republic is focusing mainly on fighting corruption, re-engagement, and economic emancipation.
We must produce, and produce.
That day that you know that it's rapoko that I must eat, that day that you know it's millet that I must eat, that day that you know it's groundnut that I must eat, that day that you know it's roundnut that I must eat, is the day that Zimbabwe will start developing.
Halala, halala, indaba ikhona apha madoda. Indaba ikhona. Indaba ikhona apha. Siyabonga.
Crops being produced are being processed to increase the revenue received by farmers.
ADA is decentralizing micro-processing plants across the country, 10 provinces. Basically for value addition and processing of the agricultural commodities that are currently being produced at our raw irrigation schemes.
I want to thank the government of the day, led by President Mnangagwa, that he realized that this area, which is Chabezi Sibona villages, or what 6 in Gwanda North, is actually under a poor seasonal rainfall, which is agroecological region 4 to 5. Dryland farming is risky. The only solution for our food security is irrigation. You are not only interested in household food security and nutrition, you are actually interested in household beneficiaries. Inclusive of development of value addition and beneficiation. So I thought ATA had lost its mandate to run the show, because for some time the estates were running without production. But as of the Second Republic, I think you've accepted that you are the responsibility for the development of the rural areas.
Through organizations such as Zimtrade, Zimbabwe's products such as blueberries are finding their way into Rwandan, Kenyan, and even Ghanaian shelves.
Blueberries are very much a crop of the Second Republic. In 2018, we only had 2,000 metric tons exported. Year 2025, we have 12,000 metric tons, and we expect this to continue to increase to almost 20,000 metric tons by 2030. The outstanding performance in wheat production, as we all know, Zimbabwe has increased wheat production from a mere 136,000 metric tons in 2018 to over 627,000 metric tons in 2025, which is a 357% increase. We expect this production to continue on this northward trajectory to exceed 1 million metric tons, and we are beginning to scout for export markets for a jurisdiction that about 5 years ago was known for its importation of wheat. This is indeed commendable.
We have a very good example in Zimbabwe in terms of promoting the implementation of the regional value chain on wheat. We have 4 regional value chains, all of them identified as strategic, and wheat is one of them because of the amount of wheat that the region imports and the financial implications that the wheat has in the payment balance for the entire region. And Zimbabwe is still a key example because they have been able in a very short time to produce for their own consumption, and now they are well equipped to produce for all other countries in the region, including Mozambique and now Zambia and Tanzania. And we are sure that if things proceed as they've been happening until now, we'll be self-sufficient in terms of wheat, and all that economy will be sitting in the region, and the economic impacts will be really very big and maximized. So the leadership of Zimbabwe has been very critical in that regard.
With what I got from Zimbabwe, I realized that there are many crops that really they produce locally for external market, which is something that really need to commend Zimbabwe for. More especially when they talk that they are the 4th major producing tobacco in the world. So I was so really impressed about that. The other thing again is the simplicity of how they do their farming and the initiatives that the government give the farmers to assist, more especially when we talk of the assistance in relation to FAO, like hand-in-hand initiative. We realize that there are very good projects that they're implementing in terms of the seeds and the fertilizers. That really, as Botswana, really, we need to have a bank or where we'll be able to produce our own manufacture of the fertilizers or seeds, so that we may have not importing the resources or the inputs that we are using for our production because it's too costly. So this is really something that we appreciated in Zimbabwe.
In agriculture perspective, one of the key elements which I got is that Zimbabwe is high producing country of wheat, and we are actually low in production of wheat. We actually import more than 80 to 90% of the requirement in the country. So 2 areas. One, there is a room for exchange of capacity and learning so that we can improve our production. But the second one is to be able to trade together so that we can be able to import wheat from Zimbabwe.
Recently, China ratified a law to import a certain quota of citrus fruits from Zimbabwe. All these are the efforts of the Second Republic under President Emmerson Mnangagwa to ensure that Zimbabwe is a friend to all and an enemy to none. The president has made it a point that most provinces have running factories such as the Marula wine processing plant in Mwenezi.
Toenda kumwenezi, University under the Second Republic, takaisa ma innovation hubs. Kuti vakomana vasikana vedu vanoita ma-sciences, vaita ma-experiments avanoda, saka vakwanisa kuita ma-experiments vakawana nzira yokuita wawa nemapfura.
And the Mutare oxygen plant.
Zimwe nyika dzikati idzo, muchavona vanhu kuZimbabwe vachafa senhunzi, vachaparara, nokuti vana ma-sanctions, and havakwanisi kuwana mari ku-World Bank, ku-IMF kana kupi. We have no lines of credit, we are on our own. Zvikanzi, kana anenge abatwa ne-COVID, aenda muhospitara, kuma-ventilator, hakuna anoda oxygen. Dzinotengwa kunze uku. Isu hatina mari dzakawanda dzakadaro. Tikaunganidza ma-scientists edu ekuma-university, vachitungamirwa naProfessor Murwira, ndokufoma ironzi verify engineering. Within 18 months, takakwanisa kuvaka factory yedu kwaMutare. Taakuproducer medical oxygen kwaMutare. Ikaenda for international certification. International certification inobvuma kuti purity level inofana kuva pa 95.8 thereabout. Yedu iri pa 99 purity. Saka yakapasa ne flying marks. Now nama iripo nama yokuwanda kwayo. Takavaka plant inoproduce 50 tons a day the oxygen. Saka in 3 days tinoproduce enough medical oxygen for our country. Saka nama inodzidzisa. Data tisina kuona nhamo yokupiwa ma-sanctions. Taida tichingopembera tinotsvaka oxygen kuAmerica nokuBritain. Ivo ndo vatichatengesera zvino yazara muno.
All this shows how much the Second Republic is pushing to have visible large-scale projects in every area. This allows for skills transfer and creation of jobs, mainly for locals. On the infrastructure front, roads are being constructed, with the flagship project being the Beitbridge-Harare Highway. Over 100 international freighters also ferry SADC's minerals and industrial output to global destinations through the highway daily. For the agricultural sector, this means ease of transporting products to their markets. Same applies to investors whose turnaround time on the road will be shorter. And that is a plus to Zimbabwe. The government was also heavily invested in dam construction, such as Muchekeranwa and Bubilupane.
Tiri kuvaka madhamu, iko zvino hapana kana province imwe chete yatisina dhamu ratiri kuvaka kana ratakatovaka. Kuitira kuti tinoziva kuti imwe mwaka tinoshaya mvura inonaya yakakwana.
We have 10,600 dams in various parts of the country, and the new philosophy of the Second Republic is that the dam is not the project, but what the water is intended to do, which now has enabled us to expand the scope of all the dams under construction. The 13 of them, and Kunji and Gwai, have now been selected to be accelerated for completion.
This will ensure agricultural activity is uninterrupted for the whole year. All it takes is for capital to find the area which suits them to enjoy a piece of Zimbabwe's cake.